Well, moving on now, in our ongoing focus on a possible outbreak of the avian influenza among poultry in the southeast, the Monitor tagged along for the recent Georgia Poultry Conference, where AI was the major topic of conversation. Georgia produces 7 billion pounds of chicken annually, and because some 100,000 Georgians have jobs tied to that industry, you can only imagine any threat to farm cash receipts is devastating. With that said, at the conference in Athens, the UGA Department of Poultry Science and Georgia Poultry Federation officials facilitated several sessions centered on avian influenza.
Additional raising awareness of the need of biosecurity. We know that poultry growers are receiving information from their companies, from the University of Georgia, Extension, and other sources, but we thought that there might be a role for some type of awareness campaign to reinforce the messages that they're hearing and also to deliver in a frequent way. And so we've developed this campaign, it's all in or all gone, protect your farm, protect your livelihood. And it has a logo, has a brand that the goal is for it to be recognizable and a message associated with it. We're delivering weekly messages to poultry growers throughout Georgia and also have a website where we're posting information, resources, training materials, videos that we hope will be helpful to growers and reinforce the messages that they're hearing from other people.
Dr. Louise DeFore Zavala, Executive Director of the Georgia Poultry Lab Network, told the audience that biosecurity is a priority in fighting any potential illness.
Knowing where the virus is and might come from, which is wild waterfowl that might contaminate our local ponds and surface waters and standing water around the farms, we're emphasizing with growers and companies the fact that we almost have to assume that the environment around each poultry house is contaminated, possibly with bird droppings, wild bird droppings, and the environment inside the poultry houses is clean. So instead of a grower thinking of his farm as a premise where the contamination is outside, now he has to think as each individual house as a clean premise with the contamination all around it. So what we're emphasizing is entry biosecurity into where the birds are by either changing boots, putting disposable boots on, putting boot covers on, dipping in the footpan, dry or wet, etc. And we feel that's really going to help prevent taking the contamination from immediately outside the houses into the houses.
Zavala told us there has been little to no pushback from producers across the state because they see the urgency.
Oh, we found a very receptive audience, and I think the key is really them understanding the threat. Because we don't just tell them to do that. We explain the whole AI story, avian influenza story that Dr. Swain just talked about. And then they understand that as a strong background as to the threat and where the virus actually is, and then they become very receptive. Actually understanding the virus makes him, in my opinion, very receptive to what the companies are asking him to do in enhancing that biosecurity.
We've been preparing for avian influenza, foreign animal diseases, for really over 10 years, but the summer gave us time to dive into our plans and review and make sure that we tried to think of everything possible in terms of resources that might be needed, materials, also human resources to respond. So certainly the avian influenza has got the attention of the poultry industry from the grower level to the company levels and our agencies that are our partners in the response.
Officials at the conference want to stress whether you're in the poultry industry or not, and you want to make sure you and your employees understand the possibility of AI and what you should do to spot the symptoms on your farm. Visit the Department of Ag's website. It is agr.georgia.gov.